How would you approach the situation knowing that your sibling is cutting contact with you? Me, 29F, sibling, 25F. Too long didn't read. On bottom. I am the oldest of two. Growing up my parents were very strict and I've carried the burden of their unrealistic expectations. I ended up doing everything they wanted, down to career, which in turn made me very depressed. I think they experienced a lot of PTSD that carried over when they immigrated over. They did hit us growing up, but stopped as we grew older. Mainly as a form of discipline. Which of course traumatized me because why would you hit a child you love? A lot of the communication issues with my parents stem from a traditional Asian background. Saving face, respecting elders, carrying on family traditions and being successful. In many ways this made me resent them because I never got the nurturing I needed and developed a sense of ultra-independence, distrust and anxiety over my future. I always felt dismissed. I think the reason why I am still able to communicate with them is because of a trauma bond. Of course this carried over to my sister. My sibling on the other hand, marches to their own beat and is considered disrespectful for following their dreams that isn't a tradition job, doctor/lawyer/business etc. In my parents' eyes my sibling is a black sheep. My sibling is very eccentric and fashion forward, think fun hair colors, piercings and tattoos, whereas I am a basic person. I was never skinny growing up but never got comments on my appearance whereas she has from my parents. In many ways my sibling is cutting off those ties with my parents because of the disrespect. In turn, doing the same to me too. Sibling only comes to me for money now and I feel like I'm on an information diet. I only hear about successes secondhand. Sibling always avoid answering my texts because forgets or was busy, but see her responding to friends right away. I'm blocked on live stories on social media. Yet she openly shares everything with my cousin. Her conflict resolution is very dismissive as well and avoids confrontation. I'm tired of trying to build a relationship she seems to not want. I can't punish myself for someone's lack of communication. I feel very resentful of her. I'm resentful that she comes to me only when she needs money. I'm resentful that she treats me like she does to my parents when I try to support her in every way they do not. The last text I sent was letting sibling know that I am trying to build a relationship with her, but she's cutting me off like my parents and was ignored. In many ways I feel like cutting her off won't make a difference to her, but how you approach the situation. Too long didn't read. Sibling is cutting contact with me due to my parents' expectations, dismissiveness and hurtful comments. Sibling is cutting me off too and I am hurt. I am resentful of how she treats me and am wondering if cutting off contact should be the best approach since I have already expressed wanting to build a relationship. Please consider going into therapy, not for the sake of your relationship with your sister, but for your own sake. There's a lot of unprocessed stuff there that you're coping with, but you deserve to thrive, not cope. If that's not an option for you, I recommend you read Pete Walker's Complex PTSD, From Surviving to Thriving. It's going to change your life, and it will also give you insights into your sister, making the relationship with her easier to navigate. Thank you, I will check it out. I'm currently in therapy, but the spaced meeting times only allows me to catch up every 2 months. I've spent a lot of years where you are now. I'm the much more prim and proper sibling, and my sister is, well, my sister. We have an honest relationship now if not a close one. Here are some things I found to help. 1. I engage her exactly as much as she engages me and I let her do most of the reaching out. For years that meant we didn't talk. Now it means we talk a little bit. 2. I was clear in my boundaries. When she verbally attacks I disengage. We once had a huge blowout over whether Hamilton is racist. That doesn't happen anymore because I hang up on her. 3. I show my support in actions and words. Recently I had an opportunity to demonstrate taking care of her and her boundaries around a major life event. I'm taking that opportunity because her boundaries are reasonable and correct. It kind of changed a lot in terms of her feeling safe with me. That being said, we're still not close. But we can have honest conversations with each other and feel like we're on each other's team. This setup only happened after many years and a lot of therapy on both our parts. Not together. It's hard when parental decisions affect sibling relationships. I hope you can work something out for yourself. Would cutting her off make a difference for you? Would you feel better? Honestly, I'd feel really hurt, but cutting off means I'm not going to be attending any of her big events, like graduating, birthdays etc., which may be even more hurtful to her. But if I've expressed that I'm trying to build a relationship and I get ignored, I'm wondering why I need to even consider her feelings. In my family, I am your sister, except I'm the older sibling and don't ask for money. I have my whole family, my brother included, on an information diet and I rarely interact with any of them. This is mainly due to how my mother is, and she's a really abusive, horrible person. She's like the rotten core of the whole family and I choose to not engage. The reason I don't engage with my brother is because we were compared and played off against each other our whole lives. I went my own way, and he goes with the family flow. I have no doubt that anything I tell him will end up being known by the whole rest of the family. More than once, he's thrown me under the bus to make himself look good. He's not trustworthy. Your sister may feel that, due to your continued closeness to your parents and your desire to do whatever they want, that she can't trust you to not either advocate for her to be in touch with your parents, or to not share her information with them. You're a risk and a danger. If you want to change your relationship, you need to be able to convince her otherwise. You could be me writing this. This is exactly what's happened to me, and Op's sister is definitely in no position to trust Op. If you say to someone that's been abused that you don't like how they treat their abuser, they will never trust you. My M35 wife, F39, makes subtle comments to others that I don't contribute to responsibilities in the house, talks about me to her sister behind my back. I'm not sure how to get my wife to acknowledge we share responsibilities equally and to stop making subtle comments and actions in front of others that I don't do much around the house. For example, in a counseling session we had and to family members, she will say I help her with things around the house. To give you an idea, I always do the dishes, always the one to put away dishes, make dinner every night, clean bathrooms, vacuum, drop kids off to daycare and school, do kids' laundry, fold and put away laundry. I am not trying to boast, just give an idea of what I contribute to, and I'm not trying to say she does nothing. We both work and both contribute around the house equally, if not me putting more time into it. My wife loves making lists of things she is doing before she does them, then makes a point to show me the list and say how much she has to do. Couple of weeks ago when she did this, I told her that half the things on the list would take less time to do than the time it takes to actually write down on the list. I then completed half the list in 10 minutes. And we had a big fight afterwards because she just wanted me to give her a hug because she was stressed instead of helping her with the list. She does that constantly in a way that feels like she's trying to boast about how much she has to do instead of just doing it. On top of this, whenever her family is over, she is like a hawk when there are dirty dishes, picking them up right away and cleaning them, when in reality she never does the dishes. It really feels like a statement move on her part, but she obviously won't admit to that. I have no idea what to do to get her to acknowledge what I do and not make it a point to others that she takes on the core responsibilities. I also saw texts last year she sent her sister saying I do nothing to help her and that she doesn't know if she'll be able to stay with until she is done school. She was working on her master's, which is now done, but she hasn't yet left me. Her sister's messages back to her were basically to just hang in there until she's finished and then leave me, which really pissed me off as well. My wife also expects me to have a great relationship with her sister even though she takes part in these text conversations with her and has ripped apart me and my family to my wife in the past. I have told my wife that I don't really like her making negative comments about me to her family as this is going to impact my relationship with them, and she now holds it against me that she can't talk to anybody when she needs advice, which I never said. I just told her saying negative things about me to her sister then expecting us to have a positive relationship seems counterintuitive. Too long didn't read. Wife makes comments to others that I don't do much around the house when in reality I do as much, if not more. Wife makes negative comments / scheme to leave me in the future with her sister but expects me to have a good relationship with her. There's something else going on. She sounds incredibly unhappy in the marriage unless her personality has always been like that. She doesn't know if she'll be able to stay with until she is done school. Your wife is unhappy with the marriage. It's not about dishes or chores. She will be leaving you eventually. Her conversations with her sister express her honest feeling about you and where your relationship is headed. Ask her about it in counseling and find out what the real issue is. Smearing your name to her family isn't acceptable behavior if she respected you. Telling her sister she's thinking about leaving is something to be addressed, but not until you've spoken to a divorce attorney. She wants out. By the way, how much time do you spend with the kids? Your wife is unhappy. About what? Bring this up in counseling. She is working her way up to a big blowout. Is this boredom? Feeling like she's missing out? Is someone at work hitting on her, telling her they know her frustration and want to help? Are there other stressors coming out because of the lockdowns? Push for clarification of the real issue before this gets out of control. It seems like there is an underlying issue here that has nothing to do with the dishes or negative comments made. It has to do with how she feels. She's unhappy in the marriage. She's building up resentment for some reason. She wouldn't be complaining to her sister if she didn't feel like she had something to complain about. She wouldn't be portraying this image to everyone if she felt the opposite. So can you find a way to prove to her that you do equal amounts of chores? Sure. But it won't solve anything. You say you're in counseling, so you need to talk about this there. Ask the hard questions to get to the deeper issues. That's what counseling is for, but it won't be productive if you don't speak up. Note that just because she's unhappy in the marriage wouldn't necessarily mean it's your fault. Some people are just unhappy with life, and falsely attribute it to their partner and/or assume they'd be happier with someone else. I, 25M, am constantly guilted by my girlfriend, 27F, about my diet. I was a fat kid, like a really fat kid. Up until halfway through high school, I was morbidly obese. I managed to lose about 80 pounds and grow 6 inches over the span of about a year in high school and started lifting during that same time. I got in shape and finally stopped hating myself and my life. I can't even begin to describe how much more happy and fulfilling my life is now than how I felt back then. I've gone through spurts in my adult life where I will get extremely serious about my diet and exercise routine to the point where I could probably step on stage for a bodybuilding competition. I usually do this just to push myself or to look good for some event. But even when I'm not so strict, I still follow a pretty closely regimented diet that involves eating high protein, moderate carbs and low fat. Because of this, I wind up eating the same thing every day a lot of the time, lack of creativity, easiness, etc. That being said, I'm not opposed to some fluctuations in my daily dietary routine as long as I can balance the macros out at the end of the day/week. Now here comes the problem. My girlfriend loves to eat out. Her body is fucking perfect. She's never been overweight or had to struggle with food a day in her life. She always wants to go out to eat and I will go with her every once in a while. But I have told her repeatedly that I don't enjoy eating out because it makes me anxious knowing there may not be much on the menu that would fit within the framework of my diet. I will still bend the rules occasionally, especially for days like birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, etc. But this isn't enough for her. I think if she had it her way, we would be eating out 2 to 3 times every single week. I've tried to explain that not only does it cause me anxiety, but it's also expensive and the money I end up wasting to not enjoy the food is just a wholly unpleasant experience for me. This problem tends to crop its head up about once every 3 months where she'll tear into me about needing to get help for body dysmorphia. I have an eating disorder, she doesn't care if I gain weight, she just wants me to be happy, etc. I have told her time and time again that I have tried to eat like everybody else tons of times in the past and it always leads to excessive amounts of weight gain. I'm just unlucky and don't have the metabolism of most people my age despite working out regularly. She always persists to make me feel bad and tries to get me to go to therapy though. I honestly don't know what to do. I love her, but sometimes I feel like I would be better off alone because then I wouldn't have anyone making me feel bad about my lifestyle choices that I consider healthy. I'm not even sure why I'm making this post, to be honest. I guess I just want to rant. Would love to hear from anyone that's been in a similar situation and if they were able to work through it. Edit. I'm honestly amazed by the amount of comments and support on this thread. I can't thank everyone enough for helping me get some perspective on this situation. I really think it boils down to two things: 1, I need to work on my body dysmorphia and fear of gaining weight, and 2, my girlfriend needs to respect that I cannot eat the same as everyone else due to my damaged metabolism from years of being overweight. That being said, I found out my insurance does cover some therapy sessions for free, so I signed up to give that a try and also ordered a full blood test to get T3, T4, TSH, free and serum test, IGF, DHEA and some other things tested to see if I am truly suffering from something that may cause my perceived metabolic insufficiency. I am so grateful for everyone on this thread for spurring me into action on this. I think I finally realized there are things I can do about my situation instead of just thinking that this is the way it has to be forever. Too long didn't read. My girlfriend makes me feel bad about trying to eat healthy because her body can handle unhealthy food and mine can't. What do I do?